Hey there, this is Harriet Kimmick. I'm the host of The Faith Hour. I'm also an author, and for more information, you can find me on the web at theexodusfoundation.com, as well as you can find more information as you follow me on social media. So, as an American, I'm like everybody else, a little bit troubled as to the state of affairs that we see going on, and I'm more concerned about what I see as a trend, and that is the politics of revenge. It seems to me that the current occupant of the White House has weaponized the power of the American economy against Americans and against people whom he perceives to be his enemies, and has weaponized the power of the American military against Americans and people whom he perceives as his enemies. I want to dive into this a little bit, and I'm not going to spend much time on it, but I only have a few minutes, so I want to go straight into it. So in recent times, we have seen the federalizing of the National Guard and weaponizing of that power of the presidency and power of the government to be used to protect the people. Instead, it has been used to attack his enemies. We have seen them going to LA because the governor of LA is the ex-husband of the sons of Junior's ex-girlfriend. So they don't like Newsom because he's a handsome man and he's a potential presidential candidate in 2028. So they went into LA to tear him down, to try and arrest him, to create a problem where there was none. It was never about going after people who were criminals who were here undocumented. It was never about that. That was the fallacy and the farce through which they could weaponize the power of the government to do this. The other place they went into that became of concern to me was Portland. So I had to look deep into who lives in Portland. Well, there's a guy who lives in Portland called Timothy Boyle, rather, not to be confused with the NFL quarterback. Timothy Boyle is an American businessman. He's part of the 400 richest families. His company makes products called Columbia. You know, the Columbia jackets and sportswear and outerwear. Yeah, comes from Portland, Oregon. They're right outside of Portland. They were in Portland for many years and then moved out just on the outskirts of the city. What is interesting about them is that these folks, their ancestors were escaping persecution as Jews from Europe and came to America to flee Nazism. And a generation or two later, here they are being pursued by the power of the American government to destroy their business, destroy their lives, and destroy their citizenry. Do you see what I'm saying? So Timothy Boyle said this. It's quoted in Forbes magazine. And he said this. He said, "We understand from personal experience what it means when government leaders demonize any group as being inferior, unworthy, and fundamentally unwelcome to be part of a country." He tapped into his ancestors' angst and their pain to explain what is happening now. You know why this is cruel? Because their ancestors were fleeing Nazism, the trauma of fleeing that and running from everything you know and running from your country to come to a new country. And 2 generations later, your descendants are facing the same thing. It's almost as if the trauma is nonstop. It just keeps continuing and continuing. The other person that I'm a little bit concerned about was, I was watching an interview of the governor of Illinois, Jay Pritzker. I was watching his face, and I was like, he's not just worried about the implications or the ramifications. There's something else. But it's what he said. He said, "Come for me." He said, "Come for me." So I said, wait, what is that? When I went to look him up, Jay Pritzker's family are also from the Ukraine and who escaped persecution to come to America. Only for 3 generations later, they're being persecuted. But you know why he picked on Illinois? He picked on Chicago because Chicago is the largest city in Illinois and a shining example of how a well-run city is, despite the crime on the south side. But Jay Pritzker's family owned the Hyatt hotel chain. That's why he picked on him. And Jay Pritzker's uncle and the president had a beef dating back decades. And that's why he picked on him. So you see how the politics of revenge is blinding them? Instead of facing the ongoing issues that are in the country, how to provide health care for the people, how to make sure we stay safe here and abroad, how to make sure American investment is protected here and abroad, instead of focusing on how to feed the people, how to make sure that you reopen the USAID so American farmers can continue to get paid. What is he worried about? Some years long, decades old beef that he had, and that if anybody ever looked at him wrong, that's who they're going after. It's just like the people who wrote Project 2025, aren't they? What did they say? They were going after the leftists and the liberals. So you're going to destroy the country because you have a beef, because some people were brighter than you and better looking than you. That's what you're going to do. So you're going to federalize. You're going to send troops from the South into northern states to start a civil war that we fought in 1865 and is done, and you want to start a civil war? Are we sensible? So when you're busy fighting a civil war here, who is going to protect our borders, dumbass? Who is going to protect our investments next overseas? You're setting us up for the whole country to be attacked. Did you all think this through? You were so consumed with hurting Black Americans and taking away the liberties that we enjoy, that you would destroy the whole country. You were so consumed with the politics of revenge that you sent home the very people who were working in the fields to make sure we can eat. You sent them home. So now who is going to go in the fields and plant food? Wow, bright ideas. Has the light gone off over your heads yet? Who is going to do that? Because we can't import all the food that we consume. We would never have it. Plus the tariffs that you all thought was a good idea to level at other countries, they're going to impose those tariffs against us. So importing food, what we need to eat, would be too expensive. You got rid of your labor force that was accessible and that was cheap labor, because the tenet of doing business is what? You must have cheap, accessible labor, because that's one of your biggest costs. And you got rid of it because you were so consumed with the politics of revenge. The politics of revenge is stupidity wrapped up in white supremacy that makes it look powerful, but in fact is destructive and stupid, because now we're all going to pay the price. It's not just me. It's not just the people who look like me. It's not just the people whom you have sent to detention camps. You do realize that at some point, the piper has to be paid. What are you all going to do about that? Because the politics of revenge is clear stupidity. Doesn't make any sense, does it? Doesn't make any sense. Also went after the New York Attorney General, who saw a legitimate claim and went after it. So now you're going to go after her. And I'm not going to talk about James Comey. He deserves it. He was who unleashed this in 2016, knowing he was perpetrating a lie, and did it anyway for political gain. And the same guy whom he thought was going to appoint him threw him out and is now persecuting him. So I'm not sorry for James Comey. Not at all. But I feel some type of way for Letitia James. I do feel some type of way. And I do know that she's going to be all right. She's ready and she's not afraid. That's how the rest of us, are going to have to stand up, because clearly the people who are running this, they're just running around in circles like chickens with their heads cut off. They're so dumb. They had no thought. And no, they did not think it out. They did not think when they were sending people and rounding up people that they were getting rid of their rated labor source. They didn't think it like that. All they saw was they would have power and they would get back at these leftists and these liberals and show them. What are you showing us, dummies? We had the answer because we're smart, because we actually think. That's what. So that's what you're going to do? You're just going to kill off everybody who disagrees with you? Oh, well. Oh, well. Then I guess you're going to be doing that for a long, long time. Because now that you have let the genie out of the bottle, and now that we're seeing that that's what this is, that this whole thing is about the politics of revenge, now that we see it, we all know this is not going to end well, right? This is stupid as stupid goes. God help us.